And what is going to be the role of the CMAs or the other professionals? Let me see, I am sharing my PPT. Is my PPT visible to all of you? Kindly confirm.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Visible.
Visible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, as the today's topic is the emerging professional opportunities for the CMAs and social stock exchange and social impact assessors. What is social stock exchange? How many of you know something about the social stock exchange? Can somebody react to it? Because I want this to be interactive session so that whatever the questions you have in your mind regarding the social stock exchange, let it be clear so that you understand what is social stock exchange before coming to the main topic, that what role we are going to play in this segment. So what is a social stock exchange and what is the purpose of it? As per your, as a layman, what do you understand about social stock exchange?
Sir, it is a
Kindly mute.
platform
First of
for
all,
NGOs
I
to.
request all the participants to mute themselves, and whosoever want to speak, they can unmute and speak.
Yes, sir. So this social stock exchange is a public platform for NGOs to to secure funding for their activities, their projects.
Correct. Anybody would like to add something more to that?
Here, NPOs can register on the social stock exchange, and they can issue a public issue IPO to fund their projects as per the requirement. That is,
Thank you. May I request again the participants? I think some of the participants are not on mute, and it's
NGOs
creating a
can
problem.
NGOs and themselves can onboard on the stock exchanges and raise funds just like any private company.
Correct. This is also correct. So the social stock exchange concept is a very new concept in which has come up in the last 3 years only. Like SEBI, by its notification dated 25th July 22, has made amendments in the SEBI ICDR regulations and SEBI LODR regulations with respect to the social stock exchange. And these amendments have been made to provide social enterprises. Social enterprises is nothing but these non-profit organizations or the NGOs, okay, with additional avenues to raise funds. So right now, what is being happening to the NGO? How they are going to raise the funds? As of today, the funds are being raised by them through their own connections, right? They are looking for their contribution through the donations from the CSR funds of the companies by directly interacting with them. There is no platform as of before the social stock exchange. There was no platform available to the NGOs to raise funds from the public at large. And secondly, they were also not known by the people, because the people who are giving some donation, only about them these people know about such NGOs. Otherwise, the people will not be knowing these NGOs. So this provides the eligibility of the organizations to raise the funds through the social stock exchange, eligibility of entities to be classified as not for profit organizations. In short, we call them as NPOs. Then eligibility of entities to be classified as profit for profit social enterprise. There are some profit for profit organizations also which will be considered as social enterprises. We will talk about that later on, but it is not necessary that it is only for not for profit. Although the conditions for profit NGOs, there are certain conditions which are quite difficult to maintain, but still there has been made a provision for the companies to make profit also, as well as do this charity work also. And these social enterprises can raise the funds and the obligations of the social enterprises. Furthermore, to strengthen the governance framework in these entities and provide better confidence to such investors, SEBI has introduced the concept of annual impact assessment report by a social impact assessor. This is where our role comes as a social impact assessor. You just please note this, that initially when this draft came up, then we were considered as a social auditor, right? I think everybody is aware of that, who can become a social auditor. You have to pass out an examination conducted by the NISM. And once you do that, you have to register with the SAO, ICMAI, or by the other two institutes, and then you can become a social impact assessor. And the social impact assessor, you have to register your form with the institute. With the institute, this special entity SAO assigned for this purpose only. This has been created, and another NGO has been created by the institute for this purpose. So the purpose of the social impact assessment is to ascertain the impact made by the social enterprises through its activities, interventions, programs, or projects implemented during the reporting period. So unlike your statutory audit or cost audit or internal audit, the social impact report is entirely different. It is a assessment of what? Assessment of the NGO activity undertaken by a NGO. For example, suppose an NGO is providing relief to the old people by giving this. There are some NGOs treating the old people, providing them shelters or providing them dementia issues, or like a one of my client is like they are providing sanitary pads to the girls, adolescent girls all over the country. Like that, some NGOs are doing X or Y or Z. Some activity is being done by them. What are the activities which are going to be included? That has also been defined by the um concerned authorities, by the SEBI or by the other NGOs. Only those activities will be considered for the purpose of social stock exchange. That activities, what are those activities? That we will be seeing in the later part of the presentation. So what activity, the activity which has been done by an NGO, that NGO activity will be assessed by the social impact assessor in terms of the inputs entered by the NGO into that activity. Inputs basically means that, like a manufacturing company, they put in raw material. Similarly, input in an NGO means that the either there may could be a possibility of a raw material also to be provided by an NGO. Like when one of my client, they were educating the household wives, tribal households, for producing the mushrooms, right? And for producing the mushrooms, what they were doing is that they were providing the raw material which is required to produce the mushrooms, the mushroom bags which they have to hang on their terrace, and the other material, the training. These are all these things are considered as inputs. Then the activity starts further, and once the output comes in, that is considered as a total intervention or a program. Okay. And once that manufacturing activity of mushroom is completed, for example, then they will take away that goods, and will they will be paying those amount against that produce to those um, tribal women, right? And it becomes a source for them to make them financially included and make some earnings at their home without moving outside, which can help them for their education, for their welfare of other activities, for their education of children, for their financial inclusion, for their day-to-day expenditure. A lot of things can be helped by those people. Now, a social stock exchange, as rightly pointed out by some of the participants, that helps social enterprises to raise funds from the public through its mechanism. There is a mechanism, proper mechanism, which needs to be followed, and that mechanism we will be discussing later on. The SSE functions, SSE in short is social stock exchange. The SSE functions as a separate segment with an existing stock exchange and serves as a medium for social enterprises to seek finance for their social initiatives, acquire visibility, and provide increased transparency about fund mobilization and utilization. Now let us look into this three lines again. There are a lot of things which has been said about the social stock exchange within these three lines. First of all, it is a separate segment with an existing stock exchange. When you want to see something about social stock exchange, what you have to do that you have to go to Google and just type NSE or BSE SSE, social stock exchange, and you will be connected with the social stock exchange directly. You can see whatever is happening over there, the various requirements, listing applications, registration requirements, various forms, etc., etc. Every intimation, every information is available on the website of the NSE SSE or BSE SSE. There are only two stock exchanges in our country, that is NSE and BSE, and both these stock exchanges have a separate platform. Like we have a platform for main IPO companies or small segment like SME segment is separate. So this is the third segment you can say, which is available on the National Stock Exchange or Social Stock Exchange. Okay. Now, this is serves as a medium for social enterprises to seek finance for their social initiatives. So there are basically two parts of the social and for the NGOs to be associated with the NSE SSE or BSE SSE. First part is the registration, that you can, as a social stock, as a NGO, you can just register with the social stock exchange, NSE or BSE, and it is not mandatory or compulsory that you should also go for listing. Just registration is enough. If you want to go for listing also, then there is a separate procedure. You have to file the draft fundraising documents, and there is a format for making that document. You have to fill up all the details which is required under the DFRD and file with the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange. For the convenience sake, I will be considering them as a SSE, So you have to file all these documents with the SSE. Okay. And you have to provide everything into that. Now, next is acquire visibility. Now, acquire visibility means what? Because once a NGO is registered with a stock exchange, okay, now that stock exchange will show these listings, these registrations on their website. Today, as an individual, if you want to donate to a NGO, how will you donate? Please give me your answer. For giving a donation to any NGO, how do you approach an NGO? Is there any means to find out a NGO so that you can donate to such NGO? Is there any means to know that whether this NGO for which you have donated, whether they have utilized the money donated by you for the cause for which it is running? There is no such thing available as of now. But if a NGO which is registered on the stock exchange, then there is a visibility that these are the NGOs which are registered with the stock exchange. The list of registered NGOs are mentioned on the website of the stock exchange. And you are also required through this, like we said about the in the previous slide, the annual impact assessment report. This report is required to be filed by all the NGOs which are registered on the stock exchange. And this annual impact assessment report is nothing like but a sort of a balance sheet or P&L published by the other main companies on the other main IPOs. Okay, main listed companies. So it is similar to that whatever the activity has been done by the NGOs, the report will consist of the entire benefit which has been given to the people, the beneficiaries of the project which has been undertaken by the NGOs. How many people have benefited from it? What benefit they are deriving? How many, I mean, as a village or as a city, what is the benefit given to the beneficiaries? All such details will be minutely collected and produced in that annual impact assessment report through the various means. Like the annual impact assessment report will consist of like the questionnaire you can make, which can be filled up by the beneficiaries, the data to be furnished by the NGO that who are the beneficiaries. Then you can approach those beneficiaries that what has been provided by the NGO, how it has benefited you, how it is impacting your life, how it is impacting your family, how it is impacting your children, how it is impacting the nearby areas. So this is the purpose of these social activities and the fund mobilized by the NGOs by them for their activity and how it has been utilized. Everything will be part of this annual impact assessment report. Social stock exchange is a not a very popular concept all over the world. So far, only at 8 locations across the world it has been considered and approved. And in fact, out of these 8 also, only at 3 locations, that is Canada, Jamaica, and Singapore, it is still working, whereas at the other 4 locations, it is already closed. And now the India has already started it. In India, roughly about more than 200 NGOs have been registered at the NSC or SSC, BSC, and more than about 15 to 20 IPOs of the NGOs have already come and have been listed on the stock exchange. So, what are the benefits of registration or the listing? As I said, that improved market access. So today an NGO is like a donator, like a donor. The donor is also looking for the donor. And both of them, donor as well as donee, is looking for a common marketplace from where they can approach. Today, there is no such common place where the donor or donee can come to a point and they can meet and exchange their requirements. SSC will provide such platform where a donor and donee can come and participate in the activity of the NGO. Since, like an IPO, everybody knows that what is an IPO, initial public offering. So it will be open to the public at large. Although as of today, it is very difficult to spend money on marketing of the IPO, and that is where today we are struck up. Number one, because the IPO size is minimum requirement is 50 lakhs only. So even if the size is 1 crore rupees or 2 crore rupees, and you everybody knows that marketing requires a huge amount of money to be spent on this, and we cannot spend that much of amount on this. That is very difficult. Just a second. Today, the problem faced by the NGOs at the time of listing is that though they have got the common platform to raise the funds for their activities, but still they have to struggle for raising the funds through some donations from the public at large, because the people do not know about this concept. People do not know when the IPO will be coming. People do not know how to subscribe to the zero convertible bonds, which we will be discussing a little bit later on. So I think over a period of time, there will be a lot of changes in the times to come, and the people will come to know how to donate, and the NGOs will be able to raise the funds from the market like that. Synergy between investors and investee in social aims. In view of the flexibility of investments and capital that would be available on the SSE, the canvas of choice would be much wider, allowing investors and investees with similar missions and visions to connect seamlessly. Now, what it is trying to say is that there will be a synergy between the investor and the investee. And for example, suppose as a donor, I want to invest for education purpose, or I want to invest for sanitation purpose, or I want to invest for agriculture purpose, or I want to invest for uh, forestation purpose. So there could be n number of purposes, and you can choose for the particular NGO which is engaged in that particular line to give donations to them. Even if there is no IPO, but you know that so many people are registered on the stock exchange, and you can note down the particulars of that that NGO, and you can contact them directly for giving your money to them, and you have to be rest assured that whatever the money you are giving to them will be utilized by that NGO for the purpose for which it has been given. Performance-based philanthropy. Performance of the enterprises listed on the SSC would be monitored, and thus it will instill a culture of performance driven philanthropy. So You see that once we are filing this DFRD, we know that what is the purpose of the raising the funds. So, and there is a proper monitoring after the IPO. You have to file quarterly, like in our normal listed company, they are filing unaudited financial results every quarterly. For the for the NGOs also, you have to do it on quarterly basis. That what progress has been made by you, for which you have come out with the IPO, for which you have raised the funds. So you have to show that what you have done with the money. It is not like, well, that means basically it means that there will be a transparency in the utilization of funds. And once the funds are utilized properly, naturally it will give us the returns as well in terms of the benefits given to the beneficiaries. Return doesn't mean that you will get some dividend or some income out of it. No, nothing like that. But for it will give some benefit to the beneficiary, and the beneficiary will, after deriving some benefits, will become part of the social organizations, and they will help. Either they will, raise their standard of living by getting something from these NGOs, or they might get some help for sanitation purposes or for some water conservation purposes, like that. I mean, there are a lot of activities which is to be done by the NGOs, and there will be a list of beneficiaries which who are going to benefit out of the money spent by the NGOs. Minimal registration cost. You see, the registration cost is only 5,000 or 10,000 rupees for registration, not much. So, because these are all charitable organizations, so the money, the purpose of the stock exchange is not to make money from this line of activity. Okay, so it's a very minimal amount which is to be paid by the SSE for getting listed on the registered or listed on the social stock exchange. Additional revenue for social enterprises. Central and state government till date have the biggest onus of achieving sustainable development goals. In short, we call them as SDGs. Okay, Sustainable Development Goals. SSC will provide an alternate avenue for raising funds, thereby encouraging new and existing social enterprises. So, SSC will provide an alternative avenue for raising funds by encouraging them to come to their platform, and they will also help you in raising the funds. So as I said, that what is a social enterprise means either a not-for-profit organizations or for profit social enterprise that meets the eligibility criteria. Okay. What are the criteria that we will also go through? So for profit social enterprises means this is for profit, not for profit. It is for profit social enterprises means a company. Please note down. It is a company or a body corporate operating for profit, which is a social enterprise for the purpose of these regulations and does not include a company incorporated under Section 8 of the Companies Act 1950, no, sorry, 2013. Okay, so, so it's a normal company, not a Section 8 company. Whereas not-for-profit organization is a charitable trust registered under the Indian Trust Act, a charitable trust registered under the Public Trust Statute of the relevant state, or a charitable society registered under the Society Registration Act, or a Section 8 company, or any other entity which may be specified by the board later on. So as of date, it could be a trust, it could be a society, or it could be a Section 8 company. Any questions from any participants as of now?
As of now, no questions. Please continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. You can ask any question at any time, whatever I'm giving you the presentation, so that whatever I'm trying to say should be clear to you all.
Definitely, sir.
Social impact assessment, like we discussed initially, is an independent, objective, and reliable examination of impact of a project, program, project-based activity of a social enterprise, so as to assess, right? So as to assess whether the project, program, project-based activity is operating in accordance with the stated strategic intent and planning. So as we said that the NGO is to define, first of all, their object in the DFRD.
Chepu.
Okay, Mr. Preetham, can you please be on mute, please? So when we do the social impact assessment, we have to see whether, as per the objective already defined by the NGO, whether they are carrying out that activity or not. This is also required to be taken care of by the social impact assessor during this process. Then assess the stated performance. Okay. Now, first of all, whether it is doing that or not, then what you had projected, against that what you have achieved, that is to be seen, and then suggest further to improve the assess impact measurement. So whether something can be done more to improve that performance, that can also be suggested in the social impact assessment report. Now, who can do this exercise? It can be done by a social impact assessment firm. This firm means any entity which has employed social impact assessors and has a track record of minimum 3 years for conducting social impact assessment. Okay, so the point is that social impact assessors, as I said, that first of all, you have to pass the examination conducted by the NISM. And once that is done, you have to become member of the registered member of the SAO ICMAI. And after that, you have to join a firm, or you can make a firm and registered with the SAO. Okay, that firm can do this social impact assessment. Now, social impact assessor means an individual. As I said, that all those people who have qualified and have registered with the SAO, they can become the social impact assessors. So social impact assessors means an individual registered with a self-regulatory organization, SAO. What I've been repeatedly saying is self-regulatory organization, SRO. Okay, self-regulatory organization under the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India or the other institutes, okay, by the NISM, and holds a valid certificate. Valid certificate means that once you pass this examination, it is valid for a period of 3 years. After a period of 3 years, you have to pass this again. So your certificate is valid for a period of 3 years, and for becoming the social impact assessor, you must be, your certificate must be valid, and you must be a member of, means registered with one of the SROs. All the 3 institutes have one SRO, and you can become a registered member with any of the one of the SROs. Now, social enterprises, what are the eligibility criteria? Eligibility conditions as per the section 292E of the SEBI regulations. Social stock exchange, whether for profit enterprises or for not-for-profit enterprises, first of all, we have to establish the primacy of social intent. Social intent, it is one of the SDGs, Social Development Goals. So we have to first of all see what are the social intent of the purpose, which is given in the next slide. Let me take you to the next slide first. This is the UN members nation which has identified 17 SDGs. Okay, the list of these SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, is like no poverty, means you are working something for the poverty, zero hunger, कोई भूखा नहीं रहना चाहिए, कोई गरीब नहीं रहना चाहिए. If you are doing some exercise for that purpose, that will be covered under this. Good health and well-being for any health purpose. You are running some charitable hospital or nursing home. Quality education. There are still some places where education is not available. So if you have opened a small school or you are running one school, like there are so many educational institutions which is being run by the NGOs. Gender equality, there should not be any difference between the two classes of genders. Clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. These are the 17 goals identified by the UN member nations. And this is the agenda to achieve by 2030 by all the nations. Similarly, SEBI ICDR regulations has also defined social development goals. And the base is almost the same. If you see in this, eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, inequality. So this covers some of these areas. Promoting health, again, same. Promoting education, same. Promoting gender equality, same. Mitigation, ensuring environmental sustainability, same. Protection of national heritage, this was not part here, so it is included here. So whatever has been given in red is the additional in addition to the list of adopted by the UN member nations. So training to promote rural sports, nationally recognized sports, supporting incubators of social enterprises, supporting other platforms that strengthen the non-profit organizations. Rest of the items are more or less same. Okay. So these are the goals. So in our previous slide, what we were saying is that this social intent, establish social intent, right? This is the thing which we have to first of all see before. Just a second. So one of the items which has been provided by the SEBI, you can register only and only if that social intent of that particular NGO is covered under those 17, 18 items. Then only you will be eligible to go to the social stock exchange. You will be, as per the definition of social stock exchange, the social enterprises, you will become the social enterprise only once you meet this social intent requirement. Okay. SC to target underserved or less privileged population segments. These social enterprises will target the underserved or less privileged population segments or regions recording lower performance in the development priorities of the central or state governments. Okay. So wherever the people, number of people, the population is less privileged or underserved, the NGOs have to target such areas, regions, or the locations or the populations. Now, for-profit organization, when we were discussing about this, what are the requirements? What are the eligibility criteria for being a profit enterprises and be considered also as a social enterprises? That is 67% of its activities. Suppose there is a normal limited company under the Companies Act, not a Section 8 company. So 67% of its activities in terms of its turnover or in terms of its expenditure should be on all these social intent only. Okay. So whatever these eligible activities are considered, your 67% of that expenditure or revenue should be coming from those activities only, nothing more than, nothing less than that. Then only you can be considered as a social enterprises. This is for those companies which are not Section 8 companies under the Companies Act. Okay. Corporate foundations, political or religious organizations, professionals or trade associations, infrastructure and housing companies, except affordable housing companies, shall not be eligible to be identified as a social enterprise. So there are companies made corporate foundations, they are making political or religious organizations, they are making all such type of associations or foundations or organizations cannot be considered as a social enterprises. The purpose of financial audit. Now distinguish social audit from financial audit. What is the difference between the two? A little bit brief has already been given to you. The purpose of a financial audit is to examine and verify an entity's financial affairs by reviewing its financial records over a certain period of time. That is, for that particular financial year, you are doing the audit of the accounts of the company. That is the financial audit. Okay. Then what else? Auditors check the entire accounting process through which these numbers are placed on your financial statements. Like we mentioned that the accounting policy adopted by the company is so and so. Then you put the notes to the accounts, everything. You have to look into the accounting process. Whereas a social audit is a way of assessing, understanding, reporting, and ultimately improving an organization's social and ethical performance. So numbers are not very important here. Number is the benefit that has been derived by the public for whom that exercise or activity has been undertaken by the NGOs. Money part is different. Like 1 crore rupees was raised and 1 crore rupees has been spent. That of course is there. But the idea is that by spending that 1 crore rupees, how many people have got the benefit of that 1 crore rupees? How many people you have been able to reach out by spending that amount? Those people, what benefit they have derived? Whether they have got certain financial gaps, financial inclusion, they have got certain education for them, whether they have got better living conditions, better hygienic conditions, right? Whether they have been provided free food, right? Whether they have been provided certain housing facilities. So
सर ये
these are the
फाइनेंशियल
things.
इंक्लूजन ये क्या चीज होती है फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन
Financial inclusion basically means that by training them, you have enabled them to earn some money. So you have provided training free of cost. Now, after that training, for example, you have provided the stitching machines and also trained the girls how to stitch the clothes. Now, after going that training and they have got the stitching machine from the NGO, now they have been able to get certain income out of that. They have started making 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 rupees per month. That is the financial inclusion.
सब जैसे कोई ट्रांसपोर्ट का काम करता है और उसने कोई सोसाइटी बनाई है तो वो इसमें हो सकता शामिल हो सकता है वैसे कि भाई उसने भी आगे ड्राइवरों को ट्रेनिंग दी है जैसे ट्रांसपोर्ट करने की या कुछ ऐसा उसको सोसाइटी में रजिस्टर करा रखा उसने वैसे।
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. It cannot be like this. First of all, as I said in my previous slide,
हाँ जी।
the purpose of NGO should be one of these purpose. Okay.
हाँ जी।
So that purpose should be here.
हाँ तो
Now, for
ट्रांसपोर्ट का तो
example,
नहीं, इसमें ट्रांसपोर्ट का तो शामिल नहीं है वैसे।
नहीं है, transport का नहीं है. But for example, you are educating the people for driving free of cost.
हाँ जी।
Then that can be covered under the promoting education, employability and livelihoods.
हाँ, ये इसमें इंक्लूड हो सकता है।
इसमें include हो सकता है. So we have to see that the activity which
हाँ
we are looking for, whether it can be covered under one of these object or not. So once you are making them employable, because once you have trained them for becoming a driver, that means you have made them employable. So for that activity, this is allowed.
हाँ ठीक है, थैंक यू
Okay.
सर। ओके सर।
A social audit helps to narrow gaps between vision, goal, and reality, between efficiency and effectiveness. So the purpose of social audit is to bring out the actual output of an activity, and what you have proposed and what you have achieved is clearly seen in the report. Whether you have been able, whatever vision or goal you had assumed or you have made in the program, whether you have got that and whether it has been received with efficiency and effectiveness or not. There are a lot of things which is being done on paper, but whether it has resulted into something or not, that is to be seen in the social impact assessment. It is a technique to understand, measure, verify, report, and to improve the social performance of the organizations. So you have to understand what is the activity, you have to measure that activity, you have to verify that activity, whether it has been done or not, then make a report on that, and also to report that whether it can be further improved or not. Now, social stock exchange has been not very, great progress, but yes, in the last 2 years or so, some progress has been made, and we all, as a sensible citizen, we all should encourage such NGOs wherever we find them to register themselves for the stock exchange, because registration is not a very big cost to them. The purpose of registration will be that once you are registered with the social stock exchange, then it will give visibility throughout the country, because the donors will look at these registered social stock exchange to give funds to them, because they are being monitored. Their transparency level is very high. They know that what activity is being done by them, what is the benefit which have gone to the society at large. So social stock exchanges were set up in the by these NSE and BSE. More than 200 NGOs have already been registered. 14 NGOs before this, and this is about a month back. 42 crores have already been raised by them. Biggest and IPO was a thing about 14 crores. Working on building up a 360-degree ecosystem divided in three parts: demand side, supply side, and the infrastructure, which has been to basic requirement. Then notified the financial instruments. They are the three instruments by which you can raise the funds, that is mutual fund, social impact fund, and zero coupon, zero principal funds. Although these have been notified, but only one of these, the zero coupon, zero principal fund, is under the implementation. All the IPOs which have already come up, they have issued these zero coupon, zero principal funds. Now, what is the zero coupon, zero principal funds? You can make a clear understanding about zero coupon, zero principal from the wording itself. That is zero coupon, zero principal. What do you understand about zero coupon, zero principal?
सर इसमें पैसा तो दे देंगे, उसका इंटरेस्ट डिविडेंड कुछ नहीं आएगा.
Very good. So, like debenture issues, you have got certain debenture rate of interest or something. In equity, you get some dividends, you get some appreciation, you can, it will be listed and you can sell it. In this case, it is like a donation. It is just a format of raising the funds. It will appear in the balance sheet of the NGO that they have issued, say, 1,000 zero coupon, zero funds, principal bonds of, say, 1,000 rupees each, and 1 lakh rupees or 50 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees has been raised. And it will continue to diminish as the money has been spent on that. And at the end of the program, once it is over, then this will become zero. The donor will not get anything back to them because it is just like a donation. NISM started training cum certification program for social auditors. As I said, there is a provision under the NISM website. You can go and find out that who are eligible and how you can appear for the examination. 3 professional institutes have established Section 8 companies to enroll the social impact assessors. So all the 3 institutes, ICMA, ICI, ICSI, all these 3 institutes have self-regulatory organizations, Section 8 company, SRO ICMAI, SRO ICAI, SRO ICSI. They have formed a Section 8 companies to look into the requirement for registering these social auditors or social impact assessors as per the firm, for enrolling the individuals as well as the firms also. Valid registration certificate for 12 months or any of the following legal form. This is the requirement for the registration purpose, that what a NPO should have. A NPO should have a charitable trust registered in the public trust statute of the relevant state. A charitable trust, this means that whatever we have stated, the registration should be valid for at least 12 months. Okay. Then registration certificate under section 12A, 12AA, 12AB issued by the income tax department, valid for next 12 months. Then valid IT, PAN, etc. under regulation 292 of the SEBI ICDR regulations, and minimum should be 3-year-old. And for the purpose of registration, because all NPOs are there are about 1,60,000 NGOs which are registered on the government website called Darpan. And other than registered are also there are another 10-20 lakhs NGOs are there which are not even registered on Darpan also. And these are very, very small NGOs which are undertaking very small work, say spending 10,000, 30,000, 1 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees. But for becoming a NGO for registration purpose on a stock exchange, their minimum spending should be 50 lakh rupees per annum, and minimum donation which they should receive is not less than 10 lakh rupees. These are the basic requirement for getting the registration on the stock exchange. Apart from that, there should be a 3 years audited financial balance sheet should be available for these NGOs. Social impact assessors, I think we have discussed quite in details, but still, social auditor means an individual registered with a self SRO under the Institute of Chartered Accountants, etc. Social impact assessors can only be possible when there is a valid certificate issued by the NSCM and they are registered with the SRO. Impact assessment is mandatory for entities on social stock exchange, whether registered or listed. As I said, a NGO can be registered or it can be listed or it can be both, but it is mandatory for all. The impact assessment has to be done by all the NGOs who are registered on the social stock exchange. The social impact assessors to comply with the code of conduct. Code focuses on aspects such as integrity, objectivity, like the code of conduct for our profession, like for cost accountants or company secretaries, etc. Similar is the code of conduct for the social impact assessors, and you have to follow that. Funding structure. primacy of social intent. There are, again, as we said, that there are two types of non-for-profit organizations and for-profit organizations. For NPO registration guideline, as we just discussed, NPO security listing, they can go for listing, and they can issue these three types of instruments. As of now, we are doing only ZCZB in short. For profit organizations, they are not required for registration because they are already, it cannot be registered there. So no registration required. They are already registered with the ROC. FPE security listing, then security listing for equity debt or social impact fund. Like their companies are listed with the equity or NCD, etc., or the social impact fund. Okay. Now, specifically, what is ZCZB? As I already discussed, that it is an instrument issued by a NPO, registered on a stock exchange, without any coupon, and no principal amount shall be payable on its maturity. NPO may issue a ZCZB instrument only for a specific project or activity to be completed within a duration specified in the fundraising document, provided that the specific project or activity falls under the list of eligible activities specified under Regulation 292E of the ICDR regulations. So there are certain conditions. One, the project should be as per those objects clause. One. Two, it is for a specific duration, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and during which period you have to complete that project. Then there should be a specific project. It cannot be a general activity. Even if it is a general activity, you have to convert it into a specific project that you will be benefiting by this activity in a period of 3 years. So many beneficiaries will be there. So it has to be there. Minimum issue size of the IPO is 50 lakhs. Minimum application amount is 1,000 rupees. So any amount, like as an individual, I can donate 1,000 rupees for this towards the, and I will be issued a ZCZP. And minimum subscription, like under the case of IPOs, normal IPOs, there is a minimum subscription amount of 90%. In case of social organizations, it is 75%. You have to mention the amount to be raised, and of that amount, 75% has to be subscribed by the donors. Process of social impact assessment. The major steps involved in social impact process are framing and structure of social impact process, identification of stakeholders, and starting a dialogue process. So first of all, you have to frame a structure, that how do you want to go through this structure of process. Then who are the people whom we have to target? How to talk to them, whom to target, whom to talk, that is to be identified. Then focus on important activities, the activities which is being conducted by the NGOs, and then cross verification of said achievements. So whatever activity, the information which has been given by the NGO that they have carried out their activity, the verification of that activity is required to be done. Then data collection and analysis, and then findings and verifications. So you have to collect the data from various sources by the NGOs provided by them. Then you can make a questionnaire and directly collect it from the beneficiaries. Then you can go to that area. You can collect the data from them. Findings and verification. Then you have to analyze that data and find out that what you are verifying and what are the findings, analysis part. Then submit the draft report to the NPO for response to the observations made by you, because you may be wrong somewhere. So it is better to always consider their reactions or comments for the final observations, and then finalize the social impact assessment report to be released. So this is the normal, like in our own statutory audit of the cost audit also, we do a similar kind of exercise. Similarly, where in social audit organizations also, we do the similar exercise. There, this social impact assessment again can be done by the CMAs who are already passed the examination, got a valid certificate from NISM, and is registered with the SRO. The cost of social impact assessment. Now, the question is that many people ask that what is the fees which you get from the NGOs for doing this exercise? Now, that depends upon the size of the NGO. For example, if the NGO is spending, say, 10 crore rupees in a particular year, then of course, maybe 5 to 10 lakh rupees you can get for this assignment. But if it is a small NGO spending hardly about 1 crore rupees, then you might be getting only 1 or 2 lakh rupees for that. So that is the cost which is to be paid by the NGOs, not by anybody else. An organization may sponsor a person to be certified as social impact assessor, and if so, that person will not be allowed. Social impact assessment report will be displayed on the website. So whatever report you are finalizing and signing, and it will be submitted by the NGOs, this report will be available on the website of the stock exchanges. You can go today, you can see the draft of the impact assessment reports, and you can see that what kind of work is to be done by the social impact assessors. In case of any negative observations, credibility of the NPO will be affected. So you have to look into whatever the negative points are there. Like in our auditor's report, we give our qualifying remarks. So in case of this also, you have to give the any negative report if something is wrong. And this will affect the further raising by the funds by the NGOs. Existing donors' investments do not get impacted. Whatever the money which has already come, that cannot be gone back, that cannot be returned, but in future donations, it will may be affected. What are the requirements, qualification to become a social impact assessor? As I said, that for becoming eligible to participate, to be eligible to pass an examination on the NISM, you have to hold the required qualification. Now, what are the qualification? You have to be only simply a graduate of the postgraduate or with certain experience. In the next slide, it will be there. And this TS, the CMA and the CA, they are not required to be having any experience. They can directly apply for the examination. Then before that, they have attended a course at NISM and received a certification of completion and is registered with the SRO. Okay, so normally a training program is conducted by the SROs, and then after that, after doing that, you can be registered with the SRO. This is the requirement for becoming a social impact assessor. A firm institution that has partners employees who meet the criteria for being a social auditor and has a track record of minimum 3 years for conducting social impact assessment, they can become the part of the firms. Eligibility qualifications for postgraduates, 3 years of experience. For our graduates, 6 years of experience. And for cost and management accountant, chartered accountant, or company secretary, no experience. Only passing out these 3 examinations is more than enough. Okay, so postgraduate with 3 years, undergraduates with 6 years, and for the other professionals, no experience. They are eligible for the purpose of appearing for the social NISM examination.
सर ये फर्म का होना जरूरी है या इंडिविजुअल भी कर सकता है ऑडिट या सोशल ऑडिट?
As per the law, as of now, it is a requirement, pre-requirement that it can be done only by a firm. But I have seen that reports are being submitted in the individual capacities also. So this is a little bit of gray area as of now because the number of people are very less and the number of assignments are also very less. So maybe in the times to come, the SEBI might become strict and they might not allow the individual assessors to give that social impact report.
Sir, is COPI mandatory, for in this case, or working individuals also can do as a part-time?
Part-time is not possible. If you, you cannot be employed. Along with CS, CMA, CA practice, you can do this, but not along with employment. Okay. About NISM Social Auditor Certification Examination, as mandated by SEBI, NISM Social Auditor Examination aims to create a pool of social auditors who would assess the impact of social interventions of various social enterprises who raise funds through the social platform. So examination is of 100 marks, and there will be certain case studies and certain questions. You will be provided also the course curriculum. You will also be provided a link to the um, booklet, which will contain the contents for which you have to study and for the purpose of this examination. How to register? Interested CMAs can register at so-and-so website of the NSM, and after successful registration, you can select a test center. Test centers are across the country, almost every day, or there is no fixed examination schedule. You can see the availability of the test availability on a particular test examination center, and you can select that and appear for the examination. Fee structure is also very less, 1500 rupees for one examination. There is no limit for number of attempts. You can give one attempt or 10 attempts or 20 attempts. Every time you have to make the payment of the fees again and again. Test details, there will be 85 MCQs, 3 case-based questions of 5 questions each, 100 marks total, 2 hours time, and 25% negative marking means against 4 negative wrong questions, you will be given 1 mark, and there will be passing score is 60%. So 100 marks, 2 hours time, negative marking 0.25%, and passing percentage is 60%. Study material for preparing of this examination is available on the website of the NISM, and once you register, then you will be provided the study material also. Professional opportunities, assisting NPOs and FPEs in registration. So first of all, as I said in the beginning, you can assist the registration part. You can take care of the registration of the NGOs on the websites, on the NSC or BSc. Then assisting NPOs and FPs for listing or raising funds. Then assisting NPOs and FPs in budgeting and planning for their social projects. You can do monitoring of the social projects. Then you can do effective cost management, because being a CMA, you know that how to minimize the cost in completing your projects, and evaluation of social projects, and of course the social impact assessment. So these are the different activities which can be done by a professional. For the last purpose only, you have to be a social impact assessor. But for the other 5-6 activities, you may not be a social impact assessor, because you being a simple cost accountant, you can do this exercise also. It is not necessary that you have to pass that examination and do everything. Nothing required. You can do this exercise, because if you know about it, you can do this exercise without being qualified as a social impact assessor. ICMI Social Auditors Examination Organization, as I said, that each of these 3 institutes have one social auditors organization. It is a Section 8 company formed by all the 3 respective institutes. And once you pass the examination, you have to enroll with this SRO. Okay. Then if you go on the website, you can find out a frequent answering questions, FAQs, where you will get a lot of the queries which may be in your mind. Then checklist for the purpose of registration, that what all documents are required for the purpose of registration, and the various forms which are required to be filled along with for the purpose of registration or for the purpose of listing. There is a lot of number of forms which are already available on the website of the stock exchange. So you can go through these website and find out the FAQs on the registration or listing, then checklist for registration and listing, and the forms which is required to be filled up for the purpose of registration and listing. So this is all about the today's topic, and now we have around 5 to 10 minutes. We can have some question answers from the participants.
Sir, if 75% is not subscribed, then what will be the matter?
You have to refund the amount.
Okay.
Like an IPO fails, so this IPO fails, and you have to return the amount.
Thank you, sir.
नमस्कार योगेश जी,
हाँ जी,
CSE
राकेश जी।
में राकेश साजी बोल रहा था। The social impact assessment review भी आनी चाहिए, social impact governance report भी आनी चाहिए, और individuals are not permitted and proprietary firms are not permitted for social impact assessment report. So ये सब भी invite या introduce करनी चाहिए, representation होनी चाहिए।
इसके लिए क्या बता रहे हैं आप? इंडिविजुअल के लिए नहीं है, फॉर्म्स LLP हो या लिमिटेड हो, कुछ भी हो सकती है।
हाँ, प्रोप्राइटरी फर्म पे सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट रिपोर्ट इशू नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो उसकी रिप्रेजेंटेशन होनी चाहिए SRO में और सोशल स्टॉक
These are
एक्सचेंज
the
में।
requirements of the SEBI. So as per the SEBI guidelines, they are requiring only a firm can do this exercise.
Only partnership firm, but it has been formed by the SROs only, not by the SEBI or social stock
Not
exchange.
partnership firms, it has to be either a LLP or a private limited company. Or a limited company, whatever you want to form.
Social impact assessors assessment reports by
LLP is nothing but a partnership firm. Where is the problem?
नहीं, social impact assessment report individual proprietary firm नहीं कर पा रहे हैं।
Individuals are not allowed. Only a partnership firm, which means basically LLP or a company, can take care of this requirement.
जी जी। बाकी न्यू एरियाज हैं, सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट रिपोर्ट्स की इवैल्यूएशंस हैं, और सोशल इम्पैक्ट की गवर्नेंस रिपोर्ट आ सकती है नई एरियाज।
You see that this is all depends upon the SEBI, what they are going to do, because this is a very new area. अभी तो इसको establish ही कर रहे हैं. First of all, let it first establish, then we can explore some new areas, because social organizations are not full of money. They are short of money. Their purpose is to spend the money raised by them for the social causes, not for meeting these requirements. So the government will not put more and more compliances so that their money is not spent on these compliances.
जी, अभी ट्रेडेबिलिटी ऑफ डोनेशंस वगैरह भी ले सक रहे हैं सोशल
Credibility is by way of the social impact assessment report is more than enough to decide about the credibility of the exercise or the activity taken by a NGO. If you look at any report, it will give you the full review about the activity done by the NGO, and you will be satisfied whether this activity which has been done by the NGO, whether they are eligible, I mean, as an individual, whether I should give money to them or not. That impact report is more than enough.
जी जी, ओके, थैंक यू।
Yes, any other questions?
Do you need to pass the examination every 3 years as of now?
Pardon?
Do we need to pass the examination every 3 years, or is there?
Yes, yes. As of now, every 3 years
value?
you have to pass. Every 3 years you have to pass. Although the matter has been taken up for not taking up this examination every 3 years, because it is disturbing the partnership, whatever we have entered, and I mean, like a CA, CMA, it's a one-time requirement. So some dialogue is going on with the NISM to make it one time only, not every 3 years. Like in so many examinations which are being conducted by the NISM for the purpose of becoming intermediaries with the National Stock Exchange, I think they have put it at par with those, and such intermediaries are required to pass the examination every year or every 2 years or every 3 years. So on that pattern, they have done this for 3 years. But I think this requirement has to be removed.
सर ये जैसे ना कुछ लोगों ने सोसाइटी में रजिस्ट्रेशन करवा रखा है, तो उनके बैंकों ने उनकी खाते सीज कर दिए, बोले कि आप है ना दर्पण में रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाओ इसको। तो उनकी है ना कुछ एलिजिबिलिटी बनती ही नहीं है, जैसे कोई ट्रांसपोर्ट का काम कर रहा है, कोई कुछ का कर रहा है, तो फिर उनका दर्पण में रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए कैसे करें फिर?
आपको वही दिखाना पड़ेगा कि भाई मेरा ये काम मैं कर रहा हूँ, इस काम के लिए कर रहा हूँ, एंड दिस इज कवर्ड अंडर सो एंड सो एक्टिविटी गिवन बाय द सेबी आईसीडीआरस।
ये सभी जितने भी सोसाइटी है ना उन सभी के लिए कंपलसरी कर दिया गवर्नमेंट ने।
यस यस।
हाँ
एंड
क्योंकि
यू
उस
सी दैट जितनी बड़ी लिस्ट है ना ये, तो
हाँ
मुश्किल ही ऐसी कोई एक्टिविटी होगी विच इज नॉट कवर्ड।
हाँ जी हाँ
Only
जी
thing that you have to draft the activity in your memorandum of association
हाँ
or in
जी
your charter of society
हाँ
that should include in that particular way.
हाँ जी हाँ
Wording you have to change
हाँ
so
जी
that then they will be eligible.
हाँ जी हाँ जी। मतलब उनका जो ट्रस्ट डीड है या मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरटेकिंग है उसको इसी
Yes,
तरफ से ड्राफ्ट बना करके फिर उसको रजिस्टर करवाएंगे
correct,
दर्पण में।
right, right.
थैंक यू सर।
Any other question?
Are there
Thank you
assignments for
very
the
much.
people who have qualified?
Pardon?
Hello,
Can you come again?
Yogesh ji,
Yes.
are there sufficient assignments for the people who have already qualified?
You see, again, it is a big market. Like the cost, as a cost accountant, also we keep looking for assignments. So here also you have to do your own networking and find out the assignment. Like I have already said that there are about 200 NGOs which are already listed on the stock exchanges. So those 200 are your clients. Apart from that, there are 1,60,000 NGOs which are listed on the registered on the Darpan website. So you can contact them for be getting registration or for other purposes.
I got a mail from NISM or SAO, I think, to take the examination before it expires. My I already passed the exam almost 2 years back. It will be expiring by April. So I'm wondering whether to take the examination again. What will be the use if I take it?